all the time, and the seller wishes to sell that labor with the highest possible price. The employer also wishes to buy at the lowest possible price. And I'm putting price in quotes because there's no price on labor at all. So the question we should ask ourselves, what avenues can we use to balance the relative power that exists between the employer and the employee to create positive relations in this intrinsically conflictual relationship? We must understand first and foremost that by its very nature, labor relations under capitalism is conflictual. How can we build social democracy in these relations to blunt the rough edges of capitalism and create relatively, not harmonious, but relatively harmonious labor relations for higher productivity? Please remember that that relationship, apart from being legal and practical, is also a political relationship. It's a balance of power. So we cannot avoid politics as far as labor relations are concerned. But the issue is, do we have a way in which we can recognize the significance that we all hold in this particular field and be able to build positive labor relations? I think it is possible. It is happening elsewhere. It should happen here as well. And I'm glad that this process that is going on is actually an expression of the fact that it is possible. I was sitting in a meeting on Wednesday where COTU and FKE were, and we were dealing with some very, very controversial issues. But there were promises of debating in good faith. And you could see it. They went out there, and when they came back, they said, we have agreed on this, agreed on this, agreed on this. The rest we are going to discuss later. So it is actually possible. And finally, what is the role of the state in this bigger picture? We know that the state is an employer, but can we have a situation where the state is also creating situations where the workers and the employers can build this positive relationship? Because if, for example, you have all these taxes that are being imposed on employers, and the employers have to make money in order to pay those taxes, what do you expect? If you have a situation where the state is not creating a situation where people can go to school and learn and develop skills that may be used by employers, what do you expect? If you have a situation where workers' representatives are not educated, and then you have them meeting highly educated people within employers' circles, what do you expect? So there's a role for the state to play in all this in order to democratize the relationship between the employer and the employee. That sounds like preaching, but if you think about it, that is the bigger picture. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Owiti. I think the last 3 slides were very interesting. More so when you talk about the price. Everybody wants it, but nobody wants it again. I am an employer. I employ people at home. I don't want them to come and ask me for a pay rise. But at where I work, I always ask whether I can get a percentage increment. Anyway, that is a good presentation from Owiti. Now, I take this opportunity to welcome or invite the panelists to come and sit in front. Then we can have reactions to the presentation from Owiti. Now, the first panelist, as you can see from the program, is called Raymond Molenje. Raymond Molenje is the head of legal, HR and industrial relations at Kenya Bankers Association. He's also a board member with the College of Human Resources. He's also a member of the Auctioneers Board and also an accredited mediator. He has 11 years of experience in both legal and human resource management in Kenya. I've worked with him before, the Federation of Kenyan Lawyers. Welcome, Mr. Molenje. The next one will be Thomas Mwaura from Min Bakery. When I was talking to him about the Min Bakery, I thought it's a small bakery. The expression he gave me is that he has a workforce of 400,000. So does that qualify as a mini bakery? 4,000. Yes, not 400, 4,000. Does it qualify as a mini? Now, he's the head of legal and admin, currently also handling HR issues at mini bakeries. He has 22 years of experience as a legal practitioner, currently doing his CHRP for the HR practitioners. You understand what I mean? For lawyers, don't worry. You have your own issues. He's also an expert in industrial relations. Yes, welcome, Mr. Mora. The next one is Grace Kanyiri. Grace Kanyiri, welcome. Grace Kanyiri is the head of legal, IR, and the membership at the Federation of Kenyan Lawyers. She has practical experience spanning over 16 years, or 16 and above. No, 18 years actually. She's welcome, Grace. The next one will be Isaac Mbingi. Isaac Mbingi from Kotu. Isaac Mbingi is the admin secretary at Kotu, an advocate of the High Court of Kenya also, and an HR practitioner for more than 25 years in the public sector. He has worked with KBC and all that, so he has a wealth of experience in industrial relations, having interacted with, having worked for the employer and also now working with employees. So welcome. Let's hear reactions from the members. Then we'll give the panelists a chance to also react. And then from there, we'll have the presenter wrapping it up. We can start from that side. Anybody with any reaction from what has been presented? Yes, we have one there. Another one. Kinyua. Then we'll have, let's start from that side, I think.
Do I need to stand? The presentation was very good in explaining a lot of what it is that we have to refer to every day as we work. We people who work in the HR, and especially probably where I work, are facing a new challenge where staff, and remember we said that in the end, we all want to have staff who are producing. We have a new challenge of mental health. When somebody comes and gives you a sick of that the doctor has said he has burnout and goes away for 60 days, 153 days, and you know, you look at the Employment Act or the labor laws, and other than the CBA probably, which touches on what to do with the staff when they are sick, then you don't know what to do because it creates a precedence that could easily be followed by other staff. And my question is, where in these laws can an employer fall back in dealing with such cases where even a doctor cannot really be able to prove or disapprove, versus you're an employer and you want your company to run, you cannot sack this person, they'll go to court and they'll win. So that's my question, thank you.
Thank you very much. I agree the presentation of Bwana Owiti was very good. Thank you for highlighting very pertinent issues. I want to ask the panelist, and specifically Bwana Raymond, regarding the issue of agency fee. We all know that for sure there is a conflict. And even when Bwana Owiti was talking about it, I did not get clearly the remedy, what has been proposed. On one side, we have employees aggrieved because I don't want to be a member of the union. I want to just be an employee. I work, I perform, based on my performance, then give me some salary increment or give me some bonus. The fact that I am in the unionizable cadre does not mean I need to be deducted agency fee automatically. At the same time, we have on this other side where the union will argue, the trade union will argue that they have also taken time to negotiate, and therefore the benefit needs to cut across, which is okay, because also we want to make sure that we do not have issues of discrimination, as Bwana Owiti has talked about it. Therefore, how do we then come to a point of a social democracy, how he called it, social democracy on that issue, so that then we have decency in the world of work? Otherwise, right now, it's very murky, and the proposal we are proposing here, it's not yet. I wouldn't say we are yet there. Thank you.
All right, thank you. I think that was a very good presentation from Mr. Okech. Prof. Dr. Mr. Okech. So one thing I've noted is with the penalty of late submissions, with the penalty over delays wages, and with the making leave a mandatory requirement, I think we are erring in over-legislating the employer. To me, like management conversation more than law. Perhaps we should reconsider proposing this into, because for example, penalty of late submission could be a myriad of things, which include the union itself changing its addresses or changing its officials or warring or, delays of payment of wages. No employer wants to just sit pretty and not pay salaries. Making leave mandatory can be, it can be a lot of conversations. For example, so many things. So I think putting this in the, regulating this is erring on over-regulation of employer. At risk of actually over-regulating is conversations on sustainability programs. So how to make a social democracy using the capitalists' conversations, but encouraging or giving incentives around sustainable programs. For example, for you to pay, if you pay decent workers